All right, welcome back. When we last left off, we were talking about the Archon quests, but we have finished up with that now, and we'll be moving on to the last few sections, hopefully, which should be a lot quicker, because we've already talked about most of them, or there isn't much to talk about. But getting right into it, the next section is the characters that we have met so far, and we'll just go through them in roughly order of meeting them, which would mean that our first character is Toma. And Toma is pretty fun. He is a bit of a fixer.
He's the child of Inazuma, is how I refer to him.
Although he is
not quite as powerful.
He's not quite as powerful, but he is just a genuinely nice dude, and he has a lot of contacts around. He's very good at getting things done, and he is who Beidou introduces you to sort of help you get your footing around Inazuma. And, you know, we spend some time with him. He's a pretty fun guy. He likes eating food. He likes having a good time. And we eventually save his life, or at least his ambition, in the Archon quest, and then he goes into hiding. But he is a Pyro character, although I don't know what weapon he wields.
Yeah, we haven't seen him fight yet.
He seems pretty cool. I like him more than I thought I would. When I first saw his design, I was a little unsure because I didn't really like the horns, and I wasn't quite sure. But actually seeing him, he's pretty cool.
I wasn't. I know it was his job, but I wasn't a fan of the tests he put you through. But then again, I know why he did it, and he did apologize for doing it.
Did he say that he isn't a native of Inazuma? I feel like...
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Although he seems to be as much as a native as anyone else.
As you can be, yeah.
He has an Inazuman vision, so it counts.
Yeah.
That's your passport, really. So Toma is pretty cool. Ayaka is the next character who we meet, and we've spoken quite a bit about her. But she's nice. We can talk about her skills and her character combo, because I know we've both played her at this point.
Yep.
I like the skills and the combat with her. Although I have never liked characters with that alternate sprint. The one thing I'm not missing, because I don't have Mona, is that horrible sprint. I hate it. You can't go up ledges, you can't go down ledges, and it breaks my flow constantly. Although it is nice that it applies cryo to her weapon. That is the one good thing.
Yeah, I've never been quite so harsh against it. I think it's quite useful, especially the ability to dash over water. You get much further for the amount of stamina.
That's the one good thing. Although that can be a bit of a challenge if you're like trying to get in water that has like if it's not just connected to a beach, it can be a bit rough.
Yeah, if it's a bit bigger than you don't just fall off it. There's a kind of safety feature where if it's a further fall than an amount, the game won't let you go off of it, which is something. I mean, it's fixable by just coming in and out of sprint, but it still interrupts.
Yeah, but she's
Ayaka's one. Yeah, sword cryo, and hers is actually quite interesting in the fact that you can traverse water indefinitely if you get the hang of things. You can sprint and you can even create a path for other people in your game, for example. And the fact that if you're alone, you just sprint until you run out of stamina, and then come out of sprint and immediately start swinging your sword, and you will have a ground for long enough for your stamina to regen, and you do repeats until you're where you want to be. If you're helping somebody else, you just spam the sprint button, and it creates a bridge, and then when you run out of stamina, same thing, swing the sword, go back to it. So that's very useful. She's even better at crossing water than Mona, which is kind of defeats the point of Mona being Hydra a bit, but well.
Yeah, so Ayaka's cool.
Yeah.
Yorimiya is the next one we've met. Did you have anything else to say about Ayaka?
I was just gonna say, yeah, good E, good Q. Also the fact that she's one of the better swords people for applying the element, because she can do it at whim. She just has to sprint for a split second, and she has cryo applied to her blade for the next 4 hits, which is nice. Yep. It finally gives a swordsman who can do that.
The next character we meet is Yorimiya, and her character quest actually does have a very short test drive, so we did get to see how she performs in combat.
Just to note, before you go into it, there was actually a bug on first release where once you got this Yorimiya test drive, you could literally walk off and teleport, and you could play whatever you wanted with Yorimiya in your party for a while.
God damn it!
Yeah, I only realised that after they'd fixed it as well. But yeah, you could absolutely go off and fight the Cryo Flower with her if you wanted. There was no boundaries.
You
could just wander off.
Nope. That sucks.
Yeah, you could literally just go away and do like all of Inazuma with her, or even travel to Mondstadt and Liyue with her as well.
That
which people did until Mihoyo clocked on and
shaking
stopped
my head, dude. Well, let's just get back into her actual character and stuff. So as we talked about a little, we didn't talk about her quite as much as Ayaka, but she is sort of a resistance, like, underground helper.
Yeah, she's not actively involved in the fighting, but she's more a kind of sneaking people with visions out to safety.
Mm-hmm. So she's fun. She likes fireworks. Her dad's deaf because he blows up fireworks in his ears all the time.
Yep, essentially that. Very cute family, very nice character.
How about we talk a bit about her skills, specifically relating to everyone's favorite benchmark for power.
Well, that's the thing. She plays almost like at least her ability wise, she plays similarly to what a kind of pyro official in the way that her E ability means that her standard attacks apply pyro.
People were saying she was going to be a pyro amber, which she's not.
But she's not, and
pyro
she's also
Ganyu,
not a pyro.
She's not.
Ganyu, she's not. She is a pyro official. Is the best, is the closest we're going to get.
It's the most analogous connection in that her skills allow her to inflict pyro damage very reliably and without having to charge it up.
Exactly. With Fischl, if you hit E, obviously Oz comes out and you still shoot physical, but he shoots electro. For her, Yoimiya, you hit your E and your normal physical just firing without aiming.
Is that her E or her Q skill?
No, that's her E, I believe.
What was it? All right.
Her Q is the fireworks one where
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
So the E ability is it essentially lights your arrows on fire, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
It means that you don't have if you just fire normal shots. I don't know if aimed uncharged shots are also on fire, but I know that firing.
I would assume so.
I would assume so as well, but I know that just normal firing attacks apply pyro. So it's very much it's almost like a sword E, where it just applies it to your weapon, like D-Luke, for example. Just for an archer.
His E actually doesn't apply pyro.
Does it not? I thought it lit his sword on fire.
His burst does.
What does the E do then?
His E is just his E is a series of 3 attacks, which are
Yeah, your blade is on fire for it.
Yeah, but it doesn't leave it on there for normal attacks thereafter.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it's like that, except you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and which is quite. I think that would be quite useful for people who use archers in the kind of melee way, where you don't aim and you just click attack and.
Yeah, so someone who I might actually be interested in, because I I'm fine with archers. I'm just more of an aggressive person in my combat.
Yeah, you're very much a melee character, whereas my party is almost.
That's why Child is the only archer I use regularly, because I can just use the E and get right into people and smack them with the spear.
Yeah,
but I'm very happy with
I like Yumiya's characterization.
It's not too much, but it's not too little.
Yeah, I like her characterization, and her character isn't people are a little worried about power creep. It's like, oh, well, the last proper archer we got was. Ganyu, and they're like, well, are they going to do another step up? No, they haven't. They've very much kept it. She's good enough. She's good to be she's a good 5-star, but she's not overpowered in any way. I don't see it. Yeah. So I think I like the character. I like her skills. It's pretty good. I like the design. So nice.
After that, I think we met Yai Miko, who is the Shrine Maiden of the Sakura Tree. Yes. She doesn't have a very large part, although she does seem to allude that she kind of understands who you are and what you're here for. Yes. That's basically it. It's just one scene.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she'll show up later. She's kind of like
she definitely seems like she'll be.
She's friends with the Shogun. I think she's an electrocatalyst user.
Quite possibly. I didn't check during the scene. But yeah, she will definitely play a part later on. She very much alluded to the fact that we'd see each other again, so there's no way they just leave.
Mm-hmm. And at the very end of the Archon quest, both of them actually, we also meet Sarah Kujo, however you want to say it.
Yeah, so I would assume
she's kind of just a no nonsense general of the Shogun's army.
Although
she does seem not no nonsense.
She's honorable.
Yeah, she is honorable.
She's one of the few that remains on her.
She's not like, hey, let's go, grab a drink or something.
Oh, no. She's acutely aware that you are on 2 opposing sides of the conflict, but at the same time, she Well, we've already said things. Essentially, the person you go to free alongside Yoimiya in the first Archon quest, two of the soldiers are like torturing.
Yeah, you have to go raid a prison for a guy who makes counterfeit
Yeah.
visions, and that's it.
Yeah, and they are torturing him, and she comes in and it reminds them that torture is like against the military code, basically saying stop being an arsehole. Which is, and when she later catches you freeing him, and she says, take him to go and get medical care. Next time I won't be as lenient. Essentially saying, my guy's fucked up. I'm not going to stop you. Like it's a very honourable like turn for a turn. It's like we fucked up, so we'll give you this one.
Yeah,
which I respect. I can respect honor.
And then she like, who suggested the duel in the second quest? Was it him? Was it her or Goro?
I believe it was. I think she mentioned it first.
Okay. Yeah, so she's very like like an honorable samurai.
That was it. Yeah, she mentioned it. Goro said, "There's we have nothing to gain
you're right.
doing this. Don't do it." But you said, "I'll do it anyway," because I mean, you're not going to
give the troops morale, and then indirectly, she might not have realized it, but it bought more time for the mercs to get there.
Yeah. So she seems very.
She's an honorable samurai,
honorable and traditional.
But
she's it
might be hard to get a laugh out of her.
I don't know. I feel like she might be business. She's businesslike, but I don't necessarily think she's
not D-Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's D-Luke.
I think she's very. I think there's more to her character that we will eventually see portrayed.
Whenever they're all released as characters, and whatever.
Oh yeah, I even feel like in the story she might maybe not switch sides, but I feel like she's not exactly happy with how things are, and I think she's just a victim of circumstance more than a full supporter.
Yeah, there's a lot
she's with the military out of honor, not out of agreement.
Yeah, there's a lot of like morals and lessons that can sort of be like divined from the story, and that could be an entire video on its own.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Ryden Shogun, who we also met.
Very briefly, but
much like Sarah and your Miko, it's just one scene. We don't really learn a whole lot.
Yeah,
we kind of already talked about her.
Yeah, deadpan, business, like
very upset with
hostile without hostility. Almost, she's like she's going to fight you, but she's not like angry or anything. She's just like I have to deal with you. Yeah, exactly. She's just business-like, really. There's nothing.
Well, not business.
There was no,
but very,
very. I don't know how else to say it. She had a task and she was going to complete it. There was nothing else there. I didn't get any hint of emotion, even like when you escaped. There was just nothing. She seems very much just goal-oriented and nothing else. Which kind of a shame. I was hoping there'd be a bit more on display. I'm sure there will be later on, but we have what we have.
Once we escape her, then we met Goro on the Resistance Island. He's pretty cool. He's like a wolf boy type looking dude.
Yeah.
He's pretty fun, I think.
He seems all right.
He's very much like, in it with the troops.
Yeah, he's very much a leader of men type.
Yeah,
he's down there with them.
He doesn't sit
from the front. Yeah.
I think he's the Geo Archer. Yeah. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, a Geo Archer, I've said, is just. I feel like a Geo Archer is just going to fire like Ningguang. I feel like it's just going to fire Ningguang torpedoes, but just as arrows. I feel like that's what it's going to be.
I really want to pull for him. I think he's 4-star too, so that's.
He is a 4-star, so it's more likely than not.
Yeah, Sarah is also a 4-star.
Yeah.
The Ryden Shogun, of course, is going to be a 3-star, being an Archon. No, she's going to be 5.
Yeah, and just to go through the list we have: Ayaka, Yoimiya, Raiden, and Kokomi are all going to be the 5 stars.
I think Yaimiko is going to be 5, although I wouldn't swear by it.
Yaimiko?
Yaimiko.
Oh, you're talking about
the Shrine Maiden.
You're talking about the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
She might be, but she's not. I don't know. She might not be. It depends. I mean, back in the day, we thought Ningguang was going to be a 5-star because of how she performed in the quest.
They still need like an upgrade system to make characters on par. Anyway, the last character that we properly met is Kokomi, who is the leader of the Sun.
Yeah, the High Priestess and the leader of the Resistance.
Very little time with any of these characters, as is fashion. You don't really spend a lot of time with them until later on.
Yeah, her presence very much commands
fear and respect. I suppose. Yeah, I suppose fear. She is a healer, but like. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's got like Storm from X-Men. I feel like that kind of vibe, where it's like she could call down like the thunder metaphorically.
Yeah,
Because when she shows up at the battle, it's like, oh, a rainstorm sort of appears, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, she shows up, and you see that Zara sees that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she was very confident going into the fight with just what was his name, Goro, but the second that she shows up, even I feel like even without the reinforcements, although the reinforcements obviously helped, that just her showing up on the battlefield very much changes things.
Yeah.
Your troops get a bunch of morale, and their troops, even the leaders are like, oh, this is a big threat. So she's very much a military strategist, and just come on, she's also just the leader of that part of the nation. So she's like,
I don't really remember much of what she said. Like when you actually talk to her, she's just like, "Sorry, I was away. I was doing stuff. I'll try not to do that in the future."
She basically said, I was going off to get reinforcements. That's basically all she says, and like, nice to meet you. So not much with her yet. I feel like the next one will have a lot more of her, considering I assume it will just continue straight on from that battle.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like they'd be ashamed to just miss out on that. But yeah, so seems interesting.
Seiyu's coming in the next banner, but there's like nothing about her, so nothing really to say there.
Yeah, all we know is she's small, a ninja, and uses a claymore because, of course.
Let's move on to the next section then, which is the exploration that we've sort of encountered in Inazuma. The elemental puzzles, the exploration puzzles, and then we'll talk a little bit about Bale Thunder. The elemental puzzles, I'm not entirely sure how I feel. On one hand, it is very cool to have them all thematically linked to the nation. But on the other hand, it very much becomes one solution to very many problems, where basically all of the puzzles are solved by the Electrograna. And something I really liked about the previous two nations is that you had to use a wide variety of characters to like do what you needed to.
Yeah, even in like Leeway, there were Animo statues or like Electro statues. The part of these,
or like the little like blimp things that you had to use archers for. Like I just like the sheer variety of ways that you had to solve it, and I think a little bit of that was lost in Inazuma.
Inazuma is either get Electro Sealies in position, get normal Sealies in position, or use an Electrograma to get through a shield /
use an Electrograna to solve the Electro themed puzzle. Which the gameplay is different, but the thing is, like, everything in this game goes back to characters, right? And just having to use different characters was really nice for the different puzzles. And this one, it does not matter because any character can pick up that Electrograna. So even though the gameplay is different, it makes the characters irrelevant, which is a shame.
I think this got a bit too specifically Electro with the. I know it's the Electro Nation, but in like Leeway wasn't all about Geo. It was mostly about Geo. There was a lot of like weights that you had to put down as Geo Traveler.
Yeah, I'm fine with there being thematic puzzles, but like throw in some other stuff. Just
have some mix as well. It's a shame. But yeah, there's
the exploration puzzles are fine. There's a lot of like gates and stuff. I think the most fun one I had is the like ruins that like kind of remind me of Halo under I think it's Araumi.
Oh, yes,
the northern part of Narukami Island.
Having to that shrine and then unlocking the door under the ocean to get all the way down to the perpetual array. That one.
Mm-hmm. That was really cool. I like that there is a lot of underground exploration in Inazuma.
Yeah.
And then the final sort of thing in the exploration is Bale Thunder, which, as we talked about earlier, is a variation on the Sheer Cold from Dragon Spine. However, I do think it is done much better in Inazuma's case, where there's only two real areas where it's present, one of which you can eliminate entirely.
Yes. It's present in the Forge until you fix it through a quest line that will take you over several days, because it takes a few days.
Apparently.
Oh, is it a whole week? Sounds about right. Where it's like, you'll do the first part of it. It's called Tara Tales. You do the first part, next couple of days, another world quest will appear where he asks you to do it, and eventually you make a device and put it under the Forge, foil the Fatui plan to steal its energy or something, and you stabilize it and bring it back into like somewhat of operation.
But the other place is Musojin Gorge, which is the big slash. And
that is uncurable.
That's just permanent.
That's permanent. All I was going to say is that while you say it's similar to the Sheer Cold, it is different as well, because specifically the second you enter the area, you will take damage from it, and the only way to stop it is by having an Electrograna on you to prevent. and the higher your Electrogunner level, the longer that one protects you for. So at the start, you really have to pick up every single one, and they are quite liberal with the locations of these Electrogrammars. But if you want to go off the slightly off the beaten track, you want to get your level up first, because it kills you fairly quickly. It's not that slow. At least with Dragonspine, you had to get cold first, and then it would kill you. This one is just you have to protect yourself.
I think the vertical nature of both locations makes it a little rougher than it probably would be normally, because it's very hard to go and get Electrograna when you have to climb stuff, which is slow and unwieldy, or like fall down onto it and glide, which isn't always like the smoothest if you're having to navigate a confined, cramped area.
Yeah. So Battle Thunder,
I'm glad they restricted it, and I'm fine with it existing.
I'm still not sure on it, if I'm honest.
It would be nice if there was a few more options to negate it.
Yes, I feel like shield characters should be able to resist it, but if you try, it just bypasses shield, you will die. You need an Electrogramma, or you are just going to
There's like little trees you can hide by to negate it as well, but really it's like... I think if there was a bit of a grace period, or you could see that grace period, which there is a grace period, kind of, it's a little...
When you get near there's a small area between the border and the actual damage start.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think if you get close, you'll see electro kind of... The corners of your screen get this kind of electro cracking, like the freezing you got from Dragonspine.
And it's a little bit of an obtuse mechanic, so that could maybe be improved.
Yeah, I feel like I see what they were trying to do, trying to actually make some dangerous areas that you wouldn't want to, you'd have to spend too much time in unless you're protected. But it is a pain if you have to traverse those areas for any reason.
Yeah.
Which is basically the entirety of the Terra Tales.
Yeah. Well, actually,
especially in the middle of a fight, for example, if you're in a fight with some Fatui, and you just start taking electro damage, it's just you have to stop fighting them, turn your back, go and get a crystal, and by then they're probably kicking you.
That's actually that's actually a good excuse to get into the next section, which is the content. And we'll start with there's basically 3 noteworthy side quests. Of course, there's a whole plethora of miscellaneous ones, but they're all fairly quick, and they're just kind of give you little looks into the people of Inazuma. But each of the major islands has its own like larger quest concerning it, and we'll just we'll kind of finish up with the one in Kanazuka, which is the furnace repair one, because we've already kind of talked about that quite a bit. As Rory said earlier, it's just a 7-part quest where you have to work with one of the architects, Xavier, who's from Fontaine. And you basically build something to stabilize it because it's going out of control because the fighting kind of messed things up.
Yeah.
So you got to use some cannons to break apart the barrier, and eventually you do a bunch of steps to repair it, and it all culminates with a fight underneath it against Fatui. And boy, oh boy, do I have things to say about this fight.
even myself. Usually is fine with the challenges. It was
because this guy's got a busted level 90 Ganyu with a level 90 bow. Just let that be a reference.
Yeah, and level 80 Mona, level 90 Venti, level 80. I've got a pretty solid base party to be using.
But oh my god, is that fight?
That fight was painful.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, I managed to get through it on my.
Well, let's just talk about what it is. So you have it's a defense mission, right? Which already sucks because. Yes. Like I could have easily win. Like I can easily win 99% of fights just if I have to just keep myself alive and defeat the enemy. When I have to defend something that has a very small health bar and is besieged by enemies who want to destroy it and will kill it almost instantaneously, that's not balanced.
It's specifically the low HP of the thing you're defending that really gets you.
So you have to defend this cleansing thing right in the middle, and it's his you have to fight 2 waves.
It's the machine. The first wave, I believe, is a hydro. It's
a hydro and cryo gunner, like the big fat dudes.
The gunners, the
and
big
then
ones.
There's, I think, a cryo Sison mage.
Yes,
but
and then
the thing with that is that you need to kill water gunners first, right? Because they'll heal their allies. But if you don't distract the cryo gunner, he will go and shred the thing
he will do the flamethrower
almost
attack
instantaneously. His stupid little freeze spray will get it down to like 46%, and you can't
quite
stop
easily.
him.
Yeah,
he is just dead set on killing that thing.
He can't be staggered during it, as far as I'm aware. You can't block it. You can't just stand in the way of a shield. There's basically nothing you can do. So if you're alone, you'll have to pop some sort of distraction, whether it's a Baron Bunny or a Mona E or even a Ganyu E, anything that he will fire, and hope he goes after it while you kill the Hydro Gunner. Because if not, you're kind of in trouble. Because if he gets that attack off, you lose half the thing's health immediately.
And that's the first wave. The second wave is like the Mirror Maiden and two agents.
It's 2 agents and a Mirror Maiden.
And the whole time, there's like fire and electro balls that are also killing this thing's health. So it is nigh impossible. I actually had to lower my world level in order to beat this quest. Which
I didn't, but it had 4% health. I think it was my 3rd or 4th attempt, and I got through it on 4% health of the thing. If there's anything I can say to you, is get through that first wave with as much health as possible, and then focus the agents, because the Mirror Maiden really doesn't do too much against the actual device.
But that quest needs rebalancing.
Yeah, the machine has too little health, and there is just a passive effect. I don't know where it's coming from. There are no electro enemies, and yet there are electro balls that can attack both you and the machine, and they spawn kind of just in your vicinity. So if you're standing by the only thing protecting you from the Bale Thunder, it might just spawn on the machine and kill it, and there's nothing you can do to stop it because it's an an elemental effect. You can't remove it in any way. So you basically have to flirt between taking Bale Thunder damage to yourself but protecting the machine, or just there are some electric guns nearby to ignore that, but they don't last long.
They're too far away. Because if you move away from the machine, the Fatula will just kill it instantly.
Kill it immediately, yes. So you have to always be there, always distracting, killing them as fast as possible, while like making sure you don't get too near the thing you're defending, because it will just be killed by an area of effect. Something. I still don't know where it comes from. I'm assuming. Yeah,
so that quest is like way too much. And I don't complain about quests in this game. Like I beat like original launch child without like the nerfs. Yes, it's like I said, if I just have to keep myself alive, I can learn to do that. Like I can learn the patterns and keep myself alive and win the battle. When I have to protect something like that.
Yeah, I know we'll get onto these later on, but I've noticed that the current event, which is the treasure hunt one again, I've noticed that some of those time limit ones are quite tight, even when I have like the Ganyu firepower. But that's we'll mention that later on, I'm sure.
Where are they going to go from here?
I feel like they've watched too many YouTubes.
They've maxed out their endgame in the 3rd nation of 7.
Yeah, well, to be fair, previously they'd maxed out their endgame in the 2nd nation of 7. To be fair, even if they did eventually fix that one, but it's just
I don't know.
Yeah.
Besides, I would say that there's no shame in lowering the world level for that one, because it is absolutely unfairly weighted against you. And even then, we only barely won.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what percentage yours was on when we finished it, but it was, it wasn't exactly
healthy.
Yeah, it would have been a bit damaged. I mean, mine made it through on 4%. That's like, if I breathed wrong, that would have died.
Yeah,
it was not. Yeah. It was not like a close cut. It was a very close cut thing.
Yeah, but anyway, that's about as much can be said for that. We'll talk about the thunder stabilization on Yashiori. Yeah. That's pretty simple. That one, it's fairly straightforward.
It's straightforward, but it is quite long. But there is no delay on it. You can just do the whole thing in one big burst if you want.
It's definitely something that you would want to do. You just have to go to a bunch of shrines and like solve some puzzles, which are fun. And then there's like a boss fight at the end. Luckily, it's not timed, or you don't have to defend anything. So I was able to do it no problem. But
yeah,
I like solving issues in the world.
Yeah, I like that one. It was
like not always with people. Like I like solving environmental puzzles. Like anything where like the world changes because of your actions, I've always found to be quite compelling. Leo had a lot of that where you would lower the water and like you would find new things.
Yes. And there was I remember when I first got there and I first did that quest, and I was telling you, oh yeah, that gets rid of the lightning. And at first you were just like, that's kind of okay with the lightning, and then you started noticing the effect it has in combat.
Got a little too much.
Yeah, always hydro applied. Like
it was atmospheric, but too much. But
yeah,
you really can do that to fix the thunder. It's quite good. That's sort of the main...
it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle with pillars. You have to guide an electro charge to the end, hitting all pillars, and then the big dome of water at the end.
Yeah, that's the gimmick of Yashiori Island.
Yes.
And then Narukami Island has the big shrine clearing quest, which I was like, I love that quest, man.
Yeah, that is a very long, very detailed, and quite lore-heavy quest.
Very rewarding, though, to play.
Very rewarding. I liked it as well. Essentially, there are shrines hidden around the place. You match up a certain...
Yeah, well, for some background, the tree sucks up the evil in the world. And if it doesn't get, like, cleansed, the evil gets unleashed, and that's bad.
Yeah, so at the moment, it's explained to you by this unknown shrine maiden in a mask that you should go and do this thing. You go down to Konda village, you do a little bit thing, you go down the well after you discover something, and you find the first shrine. And it's like, hey, you do this thing, you line up these lights in order, and then a boss, like a kind of spirit, appears, and once you kill that spirit, it's a bit nicer there. Mm-hmm. And she appears saying, hey, yeah, you cleared out this you cleared out the bad energy in this shrine, and I need you to do it for a couple. Like she's like, do it here.
There's 5 in total.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say she sends you to another one. You do that one, then she says, okay, now there's 3 more, and you do.
So it takes you all around the island. You do a bunch of puzzles. I think there's one where you have to meet like some Tanuki in the woods and help them out.
Yep.
And then you meet her then finally at the main tree. And then
I was going to say each one requires a key, essentially. I've forgotten exactly what it's called.
A seal, I think. A ward.
I think it's what it's a ward. Yes, you have to get a ward, and it takes you. Each ward is acquired in a different way. One's just lying there. The other one you have to do a ghost puzzle, and then like say the secret words. Another one you have to talk to this like ancient being who was turned into a statue, like the god of Tanoki or whatever he is. And yeah, so you eventually unlock these 3 remaining shrines. You do them. And she tells you to meet her under the big shrine. So you go down there and you chat to her, and she's like, "Okay, yeah. So you've cleaned out all of those the roots, which are the shrines, but now you have to deal with the big evil, and it's like on the core root, like the core stem of the tree, essentially, at the base."
And so, like, it's a big fight that's sort of like very similar to the ones that you did before. You kind of have to use all your knowledge to beat the thing, and then you just kill them, and that's it. You clear it. Yeah,
there's enemies and a big enemy. You have to defend yourself from the small enemies, kill them. Once you kill them, you have to solve a puzzle that it shows you. Once you solve that puzzle, the big enemy will be available to damage for an amount of time. I think it's per quarter health, so you can just damage it that much.
Third, I forget. One of the 2.
So you damage it that much, and it goes back. You loop this, and you get to the end where the big bad dies, and
then
the filth, what she call it,
then we finally get the full story, which is that the original protector of the island was like a kitsune, and then she was killed at some point in the past defending it from an evil. Although like her memory sort of seeped into the land because
she defeated the last evil, but in doing so it killed her. And that evil had seeped into the roots and was being absorbed by the tree to keep the world safe. But because she died at the same time, she was also within that stuff that was being absorbed by the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So as this evil was growing, she was able to manifest herself as this being.
As the Shrine Maiden, who called herself Kazari.
That you've been interacting with this whole time. And when you beat the final boss, she's like, you have dispelled, this is what I am, and this is who I am, and now you've done this, you have dispelled the evil. And the character, the main character is like, well, if you were made of the same thing as the evil, aren't you also, gone here? And she says, yeah, I'm no longer needed here. You've done it. And then she
basically gets reabsorbed.
Yeah, I was going to say, she doesn't feel too good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
Which
I thought it was like, damn, that hit me.
It was very sad. Yeah, it was quite a nice character. I mean, a bit mysterious.
I thought she was fun because she has a few moments where she's like you kind of like throw her off guard.
Yeah, no, she genuinely is a good character. Like, she's well done.
It was a bit of a shame.
And then she goes off.
And then the thing with that is, like, you get like her mask, but it's not like a quest item or a memento. It's a blueprint, and people have like accidentally used it. I haven't, luckily, but like people like want that to like remember her by, and so I very much hope that they do add like that.
It should be the birthday cake thing, like they give you on your the first birthday you have in game, where they give you the cake, and when you activate it, you still have the cake, but you get the rewards from the cake.
Yeah, they need
I feel
to
like
do
it should
that.
be like that.
Because like,
if you use
like
it, you get
mementos
a
from the quests.
Yeah,
I can look back on them. So it was a very good quest. Like one of the best written ones on the island, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the rest of the content. Which
the rest of this should be.
We'll talk about the bosses a little bit. There's 3 bosses, 2 of which are new. The first one is the Magukenki, which we already met in the summer event. He's pretty simple.
He's basically exactly the same as you remember. Nothing too much to report differently.
The other one, the next one rather, is a Pyro Hypostasis, which, while it is about exactly what you think, there is an additional gimmick where when you first fight it, it has a shield, and while its shield is up, it will use these really powerful attacks in different forms.
It's not even it's less like a shield and more like a supercharge.
Yeah, I guess.
It's just hotter, essentially.
You have to deplete it, otherwise it will use just very devastating attacks on you. Like it has like a bull form. I think it has or some of the other ones.
It has a cobra form. Yeah, we saw that one
It'll
time.
Just do like really nasty things to you. But once you can get it down, you basically have to use Hydro. Hydro is kind of effective. Hydro is the only one that's reliably effective.
Yes.
But once you get that down, it's just a fairly standard hypostasis fight. It does, some attacks. You can learn them pretty easily.
Recharges.
If you don't defeat it in time, though, it will get its supercharge back.
Yes, so you have to, if you're not doing enough damage and you fail to stop its recharging event, which is very noticeable, you'll know when it's happening. If you fail to stop that, it will supercharge again. You'll have to start again.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, it's interesting to see. It's a more powerful hypostasis. It's finally, because once people got past like the early days of fighting state hypostasis, they were not a challenge. So yeah, dealing with them, seeing a slightly tougher one is good.
The final boss is the mechanical array,
perpetual mechanical array. Yeah,
and that's like a new variation on the Conria machines, the Ruin Hunters, etc., etc. And that's a fairly decent fight.
That is also quite interesting to see the new attacks.
It keeps you on your toes.
It does, but it's also interesting to see what it is. I mean, one of its attacks is it literally makes itself into a rocket, flies up in the air, and then slams down on you.
It has like a beam laser, an orbital laser.
But like beam lasers and stuff, we've seen lasers and stuff before from them. It's not because on Dragon's Spine they have lots of those turrets that have lasers and stuff. So I wasn't too surprised by that. But like. The fact that it becomes thing, it doesn't just do it in its normal form and attack you, it becomes other things. It transforms to do certain tasks. It's quite interesting to see. And it can summon minions that are like small.
That's probably the most challenging of the new bosses, I'd say. Although it's still fairly beatable. Yeah,
it's beatable, but it is new and like completely new, and like it does it has the same kind of tropes as Ruin Guards and Ruin Hunters, where it can be disabled, it's resistant to physical, but it takes elemental damage, the usual stuff.
After that, we have a trio of new, I guess, repeatable domains. There's, of course, some exploration domains, but they're fairly simple.
Yeah.
The domains are pretty standard stuff. You get artifacts, talent material, and weapon material. I do want to say that I think the backgrounds to the new domains are very, very well made.
I knew you were going to mention that.
And I would like to see the old ones go back and get a bit of a facelift.
Yeah. Just to say, the exploration domains are all very similar to the one you will see in the first Archon quest with Yoimiya. They are like they're
basically solve a puzzle and then just kill some dudes.
Yeah, they're slidable walls. You have to get seals to unlock a door, and then you actually have the final challenge, and there's enemies along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of in a Japanese style interior, so they're quite cool. But you only end up doing them once. So.
Yeah, they'll take you 5-10 minutes at most.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
The new commissions are probably worth talking about. I mean, you have your bog standard stuff like kill hilichurls, escort balloons, destroy towers. but I think there's 3 or 4 quests that are actually tied to getting commissions. So I think it's probably worth again mentioning that I think the RNG for that should be improved. Not like
They
better
have,
rates, but I think there should be ways. I don't like that there's so many quests that are locked behind commissions.
yeah, but they have made it so that you can pick which nation you want your commissions to appear in. You can
Which
choose one of the 3
helps.
nations, which obviously, yeah, it cuts a 2/3 of the possible commissions out, roughly, give or take.
But you'll still only
So,
really get 1 story commission per day.
at
I think I've
best,
seen 2 maybe once or twice.
yeah. But so it's a shame that you don't get them that often. But I mean, in addition, there's like a commission. There's the usual commissions where it's like, oh, help this businessman or help this, like, give this person some food and stuff. But there's a couple of interesting ones, like the guard who wants to get better at fighting and he hires you to be his like sparring partner. That one's
I
quite
don't
good.
think I ever got that one.
Yeah, I don't think you have actually. Yeah, I remember telling you that one of the world quests was buy that, and you hadn't seen it yet. You will eventually get it. It's all right.
I will say also. What else do you have to say?
I was just going to mention the food one where you have to give someone some food from Leeway, and there's quite a few commissions where you can get like 2 endings. You can either get a good ending or a bad ending, depending on what options you
There have
pick.
always been ones like that. So.
I know, but this one specifically spawns another instance, like the Timmy one. This one spawns another instance a couple of days later, where if you gave her some bad food, you go back a few days later and she's feeling a bit off, and you have to give her something like spicy or like really flavoursome to like bring her flavour back, which is quite interesting.
I will say there are 2 noteworthy commissions because they send you to Liyue and you actually get to interact with some of the characters, specifically Xiangling and Xingqiu. So that is a very big step up, and I think that's the direction that I want to see things continue to go, where you can get these like quests where you interact with people, like the characters.
Yeah.
Xingqiu apparently writes bad novels under a pen name.
Yeah, and his co-writer is Albedo.
Is it? Oh God.
Yes, that is specifically listed in his chat lines.
God.
His story like write-up thing.
I never bothered to read them.
Xingqiu and Albedo, God knows how they know each other. They're from Liyue and Mondstadt. So I guess they bumped into each other in a bar or something.
God, that's an odd couple.
Yeah, I know. They write the book together, and it's terrible, but it sells well in Inazuma because they're kind of just into that. And
they don't have much exposure to the outside world.
So he's got this huge like
cult following.
Royalties. No, royalties. He's got loads of royalties that he needs to collect, but obviously it's in Inazuma, so he can't. So we should just pretend to be the writer and make the money. But so there's that one. What's the Zhongling one?
You have to go like make food from her restaurant, but you can just go see her instead.
Okay.
I mean, it's nice little things.
I don't think I've had that one.
But just stuff like that in general is like, add more characters and people want to see them.
Yeah, especially characters you haven't revisited in a while. Just have them appear for like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. The statues as a 7 can be leveled up as usual. You can actually only go about a little over halfway because like half the islands aren't here.
I think it's level 6 and somewhere around 20 electros is how you can do it at the moment because that's just all available.
The only other real big content thing mentioning is that you can actually level up the Sakura tree, which is kind of like that tree from Dragon Spine, except there's 60 ranks. But they only cost 25 electro seals, which are the things you get from chests.
Yeah, so you get I think the most you can get from a chest is 5 for a luxury chest, 4 for a precious, 3 for exquisite, yada yada, you get the point. So once you get 25 you can rank up again, and each rank gives you
stuff.
Well, yeah, each rank gives you stuff. Every like 3 or 4 ranks you get a better level for your Electrograna, which means you can absorb more of the Bale Thunder like pulses. It kind of hits you in pulses.
Lasts longer, etc., etc. Yeah. You can go through higher level doors.
Yes, which we haven't spoken about yet, but there are certain shields around Inazuma and they have a minimum requirement for your Electrograna level to get through. So you would have to do a lot of exploring to get all of them.
Yeah, so I think that's all the content that's really worth talking about. We can touch on the new enemies.
There's not too many of them. There's Electro, Mitochul.
Yeah, there's like Hilichurl stuff, that's fairly kind of self-explanatory. Just Electro versions on the existing ones. There's nothing new or scary.
Yeah. the Japanese style of the
There's like
treasure
Japanese
hoarders,
like
which is
bandits, and
essentially
then they have the like
yeah,
evil Ronin type dudes who are pretty tough.
yeah. The Ronin are pretty tough. Yeah, they've got big health pool and they can do decent damage to you.
The thing with them is like, if you know like hunters from Halo, they often are in pairs, and when you defeat one, the other gets a power up if you don't defeat him in time, and he like
Yeah,
regains a bunch of
if
his
they do
health.
come in pairs, if you kill one, like a couple of the Dark Souls bosses, if you kill one, they will absorb the other one in a weird sort of way and get a chunk of health back. It's not full health, but it's
A chunk.
I don't know,
It's not
something
nothing.
around
So
half.
it's
I think it's half their health bar on top of whatever they have currently.
yeah, I think that's about accurate.
Yeah, so but you can avoid it by just getting them both low and then killing them both before that happens. You have about, I'm going to say, depending on what animation it's currently doing, anything up to 5 seconds to kill it before it heals.
Yeah. Let's see. There's some new ruin like machines, the little tiny ones that
there's the kind of floating.
There's ones that look like jellyfish. There's like some
ones.
tentacle ones. There's like the I don't know.
Yeah,
They're shaped.
there's
They're
kind of worm ones that dig underground and shoot lasers at you. Well, they shoot rocks at you. There is the crab one which can put its front like legs down and create a shield that you can't shoot through.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
And then there's the jellyfish. I don't entirely remember what they actually do.
Maybe they're annoying. But yeah, they're fairly simple to defeat. Just punch them.
Oh, they spin. That's what they do. They get next to you and spin and hit you with their tentacles. Yeah, they're annoying, but not like impossible to beat. The turret ones are the worst ones. The kind of flying turret ones. They follow you around.
The only other new enemy I think is the Patui Mirror Maiden, who is big, like tall.
Yeah, she's just big woman.
She has some attacks. Funnily, I discovered this. If she puts you in her mirror prison, if you have a character with an alternate sprint like Ayaka or Mona, you can actually just sprint out of it because it puts you underground, and they don't account for that. And I've done it quite often, and it's very fun.
You can also Venti out of it, or indeed any character that goes up. You can just get out of it that way as well.
Yeah.
Hell, even if you're lucky and you get Zhongli in the right place, you can climb out of it as well, I think.
Oh my god.
So I guess Geo Traveler would be able to as well.
Maybe. But yeah, those are the new enemies. Anything else to really mention about this before we sort of talk about our speculation for the future?
Look. Anything Misk we've missed? We haven't really. I mean, did we mention the Electro Sealies in any sort of depth? I think I mentioned them, but I didn't really.
You just follow them. They're really fast.
Yeah, they're a new type of Sealy. They're very quick and they activate more mechanisms than usual. But aside from that, they work in more or less the same way.
Yeah, that's about it. The Electro Traveler was indeed disappointing, although not quite as much as I thought. Still not a proper 5-star, but
yeah. I will say under first of all, for the Electro Traveler, apparently she's a pretty good battery if you don't have one of those already. I guess you have now got one. And also just under Misk, we've noticed that a lot of memes are starting to creep in.
Oh yeah, the memes.
Yeah, like Yoimiya saying
the DNA of the soul.
Yeah, like Yoimiya saying it's not much, but it's honest work. The achievement.
Whoever's localizing the script keeps putting memes in, which fine. If you want to put memes in, fine. Do please keep them out of the main quest though.
Yeah, but so like the Electro obtaining the power of Electro is called unlimited power. Of course, a Star Wars meme, the Emperor.
I even sent Rory a meme I found this morning where it's like, "Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?" Like,
yeah, good old Danny DeVito meme. And of course, Yoimiya saying it's not much, but it's honest work. There's a classic there for you. I'm sure there are more.
I've seen tons of them. I don't remember them all, but yeah, there's a lot of memes.
There are
maybe off just a little bit.
I mean, it's fine because it's all in like commissions and like.
Oh, in commissions, it's not that bad, but don't yeah.
It's all side stuff. It's like the biggest one is the Electro and the Yoimiya one because they're character quests and obtaining something vital. But it's not going to harm you. Like they're not making a laugh of it. They're being serious where they need to be serious, and they're having a laugh.
Yeah, so it is fine for now.
I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah. So, I guess the last real topic here is talking about our future speculation where. We already know that there's 3 more islands. One of them looks to be having a very bad time. Where I feel like something was sort of ripped out of it, and it looks like a nuclear bomb hit the thing.
I feel like it will be a kind of mirror of the Inazuma Islands we already have. They'll be furthest away will be the actual like population center, and it'll be mostly fine. Then there'll be a middle island where there's a bit of, there's some enemies and not really much of a population and maybe something to do. And then there's that big island where we saw like the huge electro tornado of death and destruction, where we'll have to solve
probably where the finale is going to be.
That's
because we can just go right into the sort of our story speculation too.
Yeah, it's exciting. It would be an exciting place for it to happen.
Yeah.
But I think it will be a kind of mirror of Inazuma, where Inazuma's all about eternity and control. I think this will be a far more free and spiritual place, like I assume what Inazuma used to be like.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there'll be that kind of mirror there. Otherwise, we don't know much about the rest of the islands.
No, I think in general the story's probably gonna. We talked a little bit about it before, but
I think we will help out the resistance a bit more, make it into a more serious thing.
I think it's eventually going to spill out into like the rest of Inazuma, though.
I think it will. That's what I was going to say next. There'll be some sort of plan that Ayaka and Ko come up with to activate an actual, because at the moment it's kind of far off, out of the way. It doesn't really affect either nation too much. They're just skirmishing in the wilderness somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that there is obviously a plan at the moment to make it a bit more, it's going to be a coup.
I thought they said that there wasn't a plan.
No, there isn't a plan yet, but I'm saying there obviously will be a plan, and that plan is to have a coup. Yeah, so that the plan is obviously to have a coup in some way, shape, or form. So I think we will stop the revolution from dying. We'll probably talk to some people, get some more people on side, and then that plan will happen.
I think we're going to work with the Shogun at some point for some reason. I just have that feeling.
I mean, it's possible, but I don't know.
Maybe behind the actual Shogun's back, but I think someone in her forces, I think, is going to be a turncoat at some point.
Yeah, that's why I think Sarah's going to be
either Sarah or Miko. Sarah or Yai.
I'm not sure. I mean, well,
Yai would probably do it to be like, my friend is like needs help because she's not in her right mind, and like these other bad people, cough cough, Fatui, are like messing things up.
I almost feel like that Yai is kind of an external observer of the conflict.
Maybe.
She is a spiritual figure.
Maybe.
So she might have her leanings, but I don't think she'll directly get involved. It's kind of not her place.
Maybe not.
She might, who knows? But that's my thoughts on it. But it's definitely, there's definitely going to be a showdown of some sort between the Kamisato clan, specifically Ayaka, and yourself against probably the Vision Hunt clan and the Shogun at some point.
Mm-hmm. I do think Scaramuche is going to show up again.
I do. He's the Inazuman wing of the Fatui, like as far as I can tell. Like he's the harbinger for that.
I think he's probably the one who planted the ideas into the Shogun's mind first, and sort of like.
I feel like that's possible. Yeah.
Like Grima Wormtongue. Like.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I do feel like that the Fatui are in some way behind this, but I'm also open to the possibility that she's doing this to resist the Fatui influence that's happening in other places.
It could be both at once.
She could be well aware of what's happening in Mondstadt and Liyue with the Fatui.
But she doesn't realize that that's exactly what they want her to do, like gather up all the visions.
I feel like something with the Fatui are always going to be involved. They're too big an organization and they've got their hands in too many pies to not be involved in a story quest.
That's a new expression.
What, fingers in pies? Have you never heard that one?
No.
Oh, really? Oh, well, the more you know.
I like it.
But, they will be... I think they'll be involved in some way, and it's just waiting to see how that will be. It's more likely than not that it will somehow end with them obtaining her gnosis, because, I mean, that's kind of been the whole thing up until now.
Yeah, every nation that we visit, they're going to take the vision.
Yeah, as I think we said it earlier, but either we will battle the Shogun and she will eventually be weakened to the point where the Fatui can swipe it, or we go to fight the Shogun, but the Fatui have figuratively stabbed her in the back and stolen it before we get there. So something will happen.
Yeah.
And she will lose the gnosis, and then eventually she'll be our friend and join the party, because that's what they all do. So I
wonder if she remembers the osmanthus wine.
Does it taste the same as she remembers?
I don't know. Well,
it's also interesting. I didn't note it earlier, but she is one of the new Archons. It's specifically said that only Venti and Zhongli remain of the original Seven Archons, of the era of the Seven Archons, which means that there must have been a thunder god before her.
This took me like a very long time to wrap my head around this. Rory had to explain it to me.
Yes, there was. It's mentioned a while back that I think it's during one of Zhongli's quests or the story quest in Liyue that he was like him. He was the oldest of the Seven Archons, and and he was an original Seven Archon. Like he was there.
And Venti's like the youngest, isn't he? But like that.
No, Venti's second oldest.
Is he?
Believe it or not,
I still can't keep it straight because there's like two different things going on here, like actual age and like God.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, Venti appears as young, but that's just his shape. I mean, he like Zhongli had Rex Lapis form.
Like I thought Venti he became a god like later than all of them.
He did, but he became a god. The revolution in Old Mondstadt, in old Mondstadt, like back when there was a different god of the wind that his young friend overthrew. That was before the Seven Archons. That was in the old era.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, there was a god of the wind, but not the god of the wind. Like when the gods of the wind were the Seven Archons. Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh my god.
That was in the age of many more Archons. Like that was all gods, whatever when you want to call them. So but essentially, there was
he's one of the older animal gods. No,
yeah, his birth was from the absorption of the death of the previous god of the winds or god of storm or whatever it was.
But then, like, I would think that wouldn't make him one of the original gods.
But he's not one of the original gods. He's one of the original Archons. This is the era of the Seven Archons.
Yeah,
which came after the War of the Archons, which killed the old gods.
What a mess.
So essentially, Venti became a god, and Zhongli was a god somewhere at the time. And then events happened. He managed to, I think, before the Archon Wars, or maybe just after the Archon Wars, he got rid of the nobles of Mondstadt because they were trying to recreate the kind of aristocracy that was in place beforehand. And he did a trick where he basically made it look like the nobles were selling Mondstadt to Zhongli. And that made the people rise up and kick out the nobles, which created the City of Freedom that we know today.
Yeah, anyways, point being that the Ryden Shogun's like somewhat of a newcomer to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long ago the old Electro Archon died. It could have been right afterwards, or it could have been recently. We don't know, but she is a new stock of Archons. I don't know where I still don't know where she came from or like how it works. But essentially, she's not one of the originals, which is probably why she has her own ideas and ideals. Mm-hmm. That's why she's kind of rebelling against the system that is currently in place with the gods.
It's just her punk phase, then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, she pulls a katana out of like.
Yeah.
But
anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's basically all to say about Inazuma. It's been quite a fun experience so far, and we still have about half of it to go. So
yeah, I think
that'll release in a few months, probably before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we
definitely. It's only the 8th month.
Yeah. No, but while you say half left, I feel like it's more than half left story-wise, with just half the area left.
Yeah.
I think there will be more than like 4 Archon quest like segments to this. I think there might be at least 5.
There'll probably be some character quests as well.
Oh, definitely.
A few like other, important quests.
Before and after the end of the story quest in Inazuma, there will be character quests.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see, but I'm fairly happy with Inazuma right now and the game as a whole. So,
same here.
Anything else to say?
No, just looking forward to see how it goes next, I guess.
All right, well, thank you for listening, and hope you stay tuned.